Hello and welcome, Fritz Pollard. You and I today, we're going to talk about one of your favorite effects that impacts people's businesses and ripple effect out into their personal life. And that one is the domino effect. So we're going straight into the domino effect. I know that it's one of your favorite principles in business. Could you go ahead and share with everyone what is the domino effect and why is it one of your favorites?
Well, thank you for the opportunity, Bridget. Great to be here. I love the domino effect. And when I look back in my life, it really has been a foundational principle of everything that I've accomplished. The challenge is you got your head down and you're the Energizer Bunny just going through life and you forget about what effect is really running in the background. So the description that I've always looked at is a chain reaction where one event triggers a similar or related event. So that sounds all scientific and woo-woo. For me, it's just a slow and steady approach, one foot in front of the other, expanding knowledge, expanding skill. I love that line, and I may botch this here, but we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and truly underestimate what we can do in 3 to 5 years. To me, that's the domino effect, is just
Right.
that steady eddy moving forward. And you look up 3 years later and you go, whoa, I'm way down the road. And it's applied to every aspect of my life. We may get into some of that today.
Right. And I love how you described that. As someone who's known for being impatient, this is one of the effects that when I actually thought about it and conscientiously added it into my approach at work, that is where real success followed. And part of it is what you're describing, where I just wanted to just go for the goal and pell-mell, I'm going for it. And just without taking the time to stop for a minute and really think sequentially, how could one small change here create through leverage and momentum another smaller step that would have had me end up in a different destination?
Absolutely.
Right?
No,
Instead of just running.
You said something very important there, and I think sometimes we hear that high D or that highly motivated individual. First of all, we don't usually take time to slow down. You could say and enjoy the journey or smell the roses. That's the other term that I haven't smelled many roses, to be honest with you. Yet when you look at where we've come from, and you and I have had very similar journeys. I mean, obviously, you were a great real estate agent, became an unbelievably, massively successful coach. And you go, gosh, where did all that happen? And truly, I think at some points, patience is the missing ingredient, because we really did in the moment stop more often to say, how am I doing? And am I making forward progress, even though it may not be a mile a day?
Right.
It may be a quarter mile a day. That's still a quarter mile a day, and the rest of the world maybe hasn't done anything. And no
Correct.
wonder that in 3-5 years where you are, and look at you. I mean, look at how far you've come and are still going and growing.
Yeah. Especially with Coaching Nexus. I mean, it just has been completely reinvigorating. And I've been in real estate. This will be my 27th year. If I recall correctly, you're creeping up to your 40. What are you, like you're 38 right now?
Well, and yeah, depending on how we're counting some of those early days, and I literally am in awe of that number, because the journey has been fascinating. It has flown by. It feels like 15 years. I mean, honestly. And then there are days when I go, oh my God, what's next? Like, are we going to 50? Are we going to 60? The energy is still there. Yet, what does that journey now look like with all of the Fritz being filled up, up to the top? And yet, is there any more? It's kind of like that experiment with the glass vase. And is it full when you put the boulders in, and then you put the pebbles in, and then you put the sand in, and then you put the water in? There's always room for new learning and new ideas. Yet,
Absolutely.
That's the world that you and I have been exposed to. And we've been surrounded by many talented mentors that have said there is more. And I appreciate that journey with you.
Well, you know what's funny? So clearly you and I have we've had our careers in real estate. And when I think about domino effect, just giving a specific example on how this might impact someone in real estate. There are agents good agents working, they'd be hired if their clients followed them with a camera because they're very proactively building. And yet, if they spend too much time building in unmets, trying to find where's that next listing, whether they know the person or not, and they don't think about the domino effect, and they don't take the time to create that relationship and make them a past client, and then proactively, with compounding effect, continue to build their database and build their past clients, they just keep focused on where's that new person, where's that new listing. They can be successful. They can be 8 years into a business and they could still be at that frantic pace of the beginning. Yeah. Then they're trying to go back and rebuild. That's one example. I was curious. That can go both ways too. There's some agents that focus too much on only who they know. And they don't think, so if I'm strategic and I place dominoes in place that will allow me to meet more people while I still work with who I know, this is one place where if any agent is listening to this right now, I really think you should sit down and think about that aspect of, could you slow down, create some dominoes where you're going to increase the overall size of your business by really proactively working with who you know and meeting more.
Yeah.
I'm curious, where have you seen the domino effect really impact your own path in real estate?
Such a great question. Such a great question. And I want to go back and just address something that you said, because you hit some real pearls there. If an agent could just focus long enough to set some dominoes up, and if you've ever seen those unbelievably big room demonstrations of hundreds of thousands, I mean, that may be a stretch, but then, they kick one off and it's like this just visual, massively exciting chain reaction. I mean, you literally get to see how fast it goes by setting up one at a time.
Right.
Yet, are we patient enough to set up one at a time? You'll pick up momentum when they start hitting each other. And you can go down a rabbit hole in probably YouTube videos and everything else if you want to watch that live. And the energy exchange, I mean, there's a whole thing around the energy that's created around dominoes hitting each other. So back to the question, were to just choose a domino, which is every client gets converted to something in their database. It's a past client. It's a sphere of influence, whatever it is. That one act represents domino, 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 domino. And within a very short period of time, you are going to have a bustling business.
Right.
Yet, I was doing a mastermind back in April, and in the room was an agent, and I just simply said, what are your sources of business? Well, I signed up for this service and I'm calling expireds, and I've got this FSBO service that I'm engaging in, and man, it's just not coming together. And I'm sitting there going, how big is your database? And it's like their attention was so away from those little dominoes, but they were focusing on like this big domino. Man, when this expired thing hits, I'm going to be great. But she was getting no traction. It was creating a lot of rejection. It was creating a lot of frustration and angst and anxiety. And so I thought, when you were just talking there for a moment, what is it about the human spirit that believes in order for it to be massively successful, it must be massively hard? I don't know. Again, and you and I could probably also speak on that. Why did we do the things we do? But I think hard is equated with massively more successful. You may quit before you even see the success, but the little domino of the database and just the labeling of past client, move them over. Everybody has a label. Everyone's in the database. In a number of years, you will absolutely see the transformation of your business. But man, we go chase the shiny objects in this hard thing and avoid maybe the easy domino approach. I don't know. That just hit me when you were talking.
Well, you know what's funny about that is you're so right. Think about the common cliches that are venerated in our society. No pain, no gain.
Yep. There you go.
And there's work hard, play hard, but it still has hards in both.
Yeah.
Right? Like where can we have maybe something that's not hard in there? And if you think about it, most of us automatically equate that if someone achieves something and it was perceived as being hard, it is valued at a higher level. And if there's even a hint of, oh, well, they built that big career because they married so-and-so. Betty Lou Big
Yeah.
married
Yeah.
Joe Builder and developer family, right? So then they could have the similar types of businesses. They could both have multi-million-dollar businesses. And which one will people respect more? They will discount Betty's business because it came to her easily. Yeah. It is funny how that works.
Yeah, it just hit me when you're talking about that. We want to always charge up the hill, and let's be honest, it may be just out of recognition. We enjoy the recognition. Oh my God, that must be so hard. And in reality, I've heard this phrasing, and it's absolutely, I think, appropriate. And yet, I think you have to keep things in context, which is hard things, easy life versus easy things, hard life. And so I think when you look at the hard things, easy life approach, we do need to get up every day. We need to go work. We need to do productive things. We need to be lifelong learners. But in time, are we working hard just to get credit for working hard? And I
Right.
do believe that, here's the thing you and I have had the benefit of. Surround yourself with people that are doing more. I mean, we've heard that for you and I for decades. I think within that phraseology, there is also the concept that others have figured out better ways.
Right.
Learn from them. But you want the school of hard knocks, go for it. My concern is, will you burn out before you even get to the finish line?
Right.
And I think you and I
we've seen that happen.
Yeah. Oh,
we have seen that happen.
And you and I are all about hey, who's expert in that field? Let's go spend time with them. Now, let me go back to something, though, you said, because I want to answer all your questions. You had said, where is it applied in my life? So, there's a variety of things out there, 7 circles, life by design, whatever whatever floats your boat. There's many, many things out there. But, there's these different things. There's health, and there's relationships, and there's work, and there's business, faith, and all of these things. And I have gone through an activity fairly consistently, I'm going to say for the last 5 years. I do it during the last couple of weeks before the year ends. And I really take time to weight each of those circles as it applies to me. And what that forces me to do, so I'm going to mold this into the domino scenario, is it forces me to look at which dominoes are going to take priority in my world. And I give myself grace. And I think that's another thing when we look at the domino effect. Are you giving yourself grace? Because I think in the world that you and I operate in, it's business, it's make a ton of money, it's success. And so that's 2 of the 7 circles.
Right.
And what I found is that the door swings open to those other circles, or the 2 circles, when I focus on the other 5. Yes. So how are my personal relationships? Because my personal relationship could be a business relationship, domino knocked down next month.
Absolutely.
Faith, that's been kind of a bigger growing one for me, much more at peace with that faith wall to lean up against. So, but it's kind of fun. I look forward to at the end of each year is just really reassessing the 7 levels of my life. And then I put it into a 411. I geek out a little bit on this,
right.
Set some annual goals. And every Sunday, I sit down and I quickly fill out my 411. What did I do this week? What did I do this month? How does it apply to the annual overall effect? And it's really fun as you get down into Q4 and you're watching the gap close on goal versus actual.
Right.
And it just drives the whole thing. So I've got my physical in there. I've got book reading in there. I've got income in there. And it's just kind of become my go-to for domino domination.
Excellent. Domino domination. I love that. It is something that no matter what stage of your career that you're in, or even hopefully there's people that are watching us that are not necessarily attached to real estate, regardless of your industry.
Totally.
If you just set aside even one afternoon or one morning where you have control of your time, and you think about what are those first dominoes that could actually lead to not just one element of your business changing, but multiple. And identify that one thing. By the way, a really great description and a full book pretty much around the domino effect. There's a little bit more as the one thing, like Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. But it is, if you take that time and identify it, and you open your mind to what you just shared, Fritz, it might be something very practically in your actual business. It might be something in the other circles.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I noticed, Fritz, is post, I hate to even say the word, post COVID. So many strong professionals across the board, because there was the whole work from home in most of the country. Most of the country went from being in office, going to work, people, and just unforeseen numbers of people all of a sudden were working from home. What I noticed is a lot of people got away from morning routine, getting up and getting ready, putting on their armor for the day, to go and take on whatever their passion is, whatever their work is. And some people have struggled getting it back. And I mention that because I would encourage everyone, it's probably not right in your work. It's probably in one of the other circles.
Agreed.
I'll give one example for myself. After decades of always making my bed within 5 minutes of getting up, even if it wasn't military or hospital standard, It was made, pillow, situated. After COVID and a move, somehow that little daily habit slipped away. I don't know why or how. Did I need to figure out why or how? No. But I did set a 30-day challenge. I said, you know what, Bridget, for 30 days, you're just going to make dang sure your bed is made every day within 5 minutes of getting up, and you're going to snap a photo and send it to your friend in Boston. So guess what? Within 2 weeks, guess what?
Yeah.
Totally, because that was an established habit. And did that show up in work? Can I sit here and say, because I made my bed this habit? I'm not sure. But look outside, see if there's any habits or rituals that used to really support you in enjoying your career, your day, how you feel about yourself. Just do a little fine tuning on it.
You know what I thought when you said that is making your bed. That's a domino.
Yes.
And I think we discount, well, it's just making my bed. It's just doing my steps. Those are dominoes.
Right.
Interesting that you bring that up, because I think for you and I, there were just certain things in our time on this earth that we will never forget. And I think our parents used to speak of those things. It could have been the Depression, whatever. I'll never forget 9/11. Where was I? I'll never forget the Challenger space shuttle explosion. And we will all never forget the impact of COVID. So I was commuting back and forth from Long Beach, California to Austin, Texas, running a coaching division. And, I'd leave on a Sunday and I'd come back on a Thursday if I was lucky. Sometimes it was Friday, so I'd get one day at home. And I was learning a lot. It was interesting, and it was also very taxing. So when COVID hit, I'm back home. However, I'm working a Central Standard Time zone schedule. And then you used the word ritual just a minute ago. And my workout, thanks to other mentors, has become a 25-year ritual. Mm-hmm. So I had to then adjust my schedule so that I didn't lose touch with those things, to getting up at 3 a.m. The gyms were closed, so I'm running around the park in the dark so that I could get everything done. Of course, there was an hour of meditation sandwiched in there so that I could be available for a 7:30 a.m. Central call every morning with the staff. Now, of course, 5:30 for me. So it was tweaking those dominoes, because some of those things were truly rituals. The meditation was a ritual. The workout was a ritual. And there was a couple of funny things I'll never forget. I always like to stretch at my age. You don't stretch and, something, your arm falls off. So I'm laying down at the park on the cement, stretching right before I go around. And there was a handful of hardcore runners that I would run into. So they come around the corner and I'm laying on the ground at 4 a.m. And they're like, "Are you okay?" And I pop up and I go, "Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, just stretching. I know it's a little weird." But it was so important for me to not break that stride. And one final thing there is I chose to go into the office even though the office was considered to be closed. And I'll never forget, the world kind of shut down on a Friday. I got up on Monday morning going to work, and my wife said, "What are you doing?
Right.
We're not supposed to go anywhere." I was willing to take a risk for a ritual
Yes.
because I knew if I fell off of the cart, and again, this is going to be maybe not land well with everyone, but I had to be stronger than the clients who were getting pummeled by the COVID impact. So I had to take that risk in my mind. That's how I rationalized it, that I was not going to let my dominoes stop falling and stop
Right.
being set up because I had to be even stronger for the clients. And I think at the end of the day, it ultimately helped me as much as any. But man, I went through the summer, it was, March that I think the world got
That's
shut
right.
down. Then we had the civil unrest.
Yes.
I was getting calls, "Do not go to the office. There's a crowd forming in the corner of the parking lot. Sorry, already on the way."
Right.
And just so you know, just from a ritual standpoint, I called my wife to come pick my car up. I had
Oh, that was good.
a full coaching day. I found the security guard and I said, "If that crowd starts moving this way, you are my eyes and ears. You got to let me know. And then I'll decide what I was going to do." But it's that ritual of dominoes that I could not let deviate. And again, where we have to be the example in our business. And that was a test of me as a coach to be the example.
It's very funny. I went down a very similar path. We were both in Southern California at the time. I was up in Los Angeles. And my family convinced me. They negotiated where that very first week, I worked from my house. And I was like, I'm essential because real estate was essential. And boom,
Yep.
I went in that office. And by
Yep.
the way, I was in a big office building in LA. I had the full run of the place.
Yeah.
I got to park
Oh, it
in the
was
premium
great.
parking. Like I had this whole building. So anyway,
Yeah.
and same thing. Like I knew if I didn't hang on to that, it was going to be a domino that falls the wrong way.
The wrong way.
And the
Great.
entire design would fail. So, the whole design was going to fail. That was critical for me because all of us have different, critical points, and it was for you as well. And I took that same approach of, you know what? I am going to be stronger every day as we face this, as much as I was able to control it. And it was a time definitely that sharpened our swords and our skills. But
You
what I'm
brought up
curious
something
about?
there. Let me just pause for just a second. A domino set up in the wrong position stops the chain reaction. A domino that falls the wrong direction causes a retreat.
Yes.
So something you just said there, we can set up dominoes that aren't productive, things we eat, the things we engage in, social vices, whatever it may be. I mean, that's a powerful takeaway right there. Is the domino set up for your success, or is it falling the wrong way?
As you were saying that, I just imagined, and this is all businesses, it happens to all of us at some point, how many people have created a beautiful domino design of a time-blocked calendar. And it's beautiful, color-coded. There's room in there for breaks. There's a flex time because sometimes they have appointments they don't expect. They didn't micromanage it to where it's every 10 minutes. It's like a really great, beautiful, colorful, all the 7 circles of life in their calendar. And they never look at it and they don't follow it. That's where you just
beautiful,
create
though.
You build the beautiful domino design, but you never hit the first one. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyone, if you've ever done that, challenge yourself right now that is one of your domino designs. Tweak it, refine it, and actually follow it. At least 80% of the time, you're going to come out ahead.
Well, I would even say to that, and you and I have coached enough people that set really big, grandiose goals, and almost the setting of the goal and the magic of the look of it becomes more important than the execution of it.
Execution, yes.
And to me, it's a matter of days, and then, God, they're not doing anything. They haven't come out of their office. They haven't even come into the office.
Right.
So is the business plan really the thing you're putting your focus in attention to? I have really gotten down to the point. Let's water this bad boy down to the one thing you are going to do.
Yes.
You and I, a mentor years ago, would talk about master the morning routine.
Yes.
And guess what? Even that was too big for people. So then I'd go, okay, why don't you master the getting up and getting dressed routine? I mean, like
Yes.
literally,
Chunk it down.
we just need to get to something you're willing to do. And then the habit is
Right.
the muscle that we build. And you use the word ritual. I will tell you the reason that I became so aggressive during COVID is almost all of the things in my day are rituals. And even to the point on my steps. So I do 10 steps a day, 340 of the 365 days. I give myself a little grace, are to be 10,000 step days. There have been times where I'm laying in bed. One night it was 11:40. I happened to roll over. My God, I'm 2,400 steps short. What are you going to do? It was decision time. I'm not letting this day get away from me. I'm within 2,400. So I literally got up and paced around the house, and then maybe it was even a slow jog because I'm looking here, midnight's coming,
Yeah.
and that baby resets. But that was a reminder to me, although a little bit insane, that almost everything on that 411 list is a ritual now. And if I can humanly accomplish it in a day, I will be more apt to do it because, like you say, the domino that falls the other way. Well, what's one day going to hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the words that have killed very, very promising careers.
Yeah. A dream crusher. That
Yep.
one phrase, dream crusher.
Yep.
And you know what I just want to tack on to that, Fritz, is that right now, while we're sitting here talking about it, you remember doing that. So you have that clear memory of, you know what,
Good
I had
point.
20 minutes to do 2,400. That challenges my pace a little bit, so I had to jog. And how pleased are you? Even your face relaxed as you were describing that. So that's a future memory that you created in that day that made you proud, that actually sticks out in your memory. You're happy to share that you did it. If you had just rolled over and been like, whatever, I'll do 2,400 more tomorrow, you wouldn't reflect on that positively.
Good point.
And it also could just have been a night that just faded into the mist, because we tend to romanticize and we tend to want to be nice to ourselves, but you wouldn't think back on that with clarity and a sense of pride that you kept to the promise you made to yourself.
It's so good what you said there. That's what being in discussions like this with people you respect and people that challenge you, and I'm referring to our partnership and relationship that, I think I've been in and around you for almost all those 20 years.
Correct.
I would challenge people, do you have this kind of relationship in your world? Someone challenging you to set dominoes up, someone challenging you to kick them down, someone challenging you to say that domino's not in alignment, somebody challenging you to say that one just fell backwards, that ain't helping anybody.
Correct.
But if you don't have that, then you're left to your own accord to judge and critique, and we'll probably let ourselves off more often than not.
We will. Not only will we let ourselves off, our inner circle who really loves us. This is not a question of whether they love us or not. Not only will they say, oh, Fritz, it's okay, honey. Just get back in bed. Don't you can do extra steps on Saturday. And they're coming from a place of love, right?
Yeah, they truly are.
Sometimes they'll even sabotage, right? So then you may get resistance of, I don't really think you need to do that. You really need to take more care of yourself, and walking that much, I don't know, so they can even sabotage. Usually, I think at least 80% of it, I like to think, is well-intentioned and misdirected. I always know there's like the top, 10% where it's totally not, and 10% where Yeah, on either end. And that's where I think a coach can make such a huge difference in your life, because they're going to listen to you. They're going to understand. They are going to appreciate your vulnerability. And they're also going to be strong enough to say, so Fritz, how would you feel today if you had done the steps? And allow you without judgment to explore that and discover it for yourself. I mean, I'll say this is one of the funniest things. When I talk about you, Fritz, I actually share with people that you are my coach in the early 2000s. And then you were my coach again in the early 20-teens, the preteens of the century. And then we started working alongside each other as coaches formally in 2015. But we had known each other all through those years. And even when I had some other coaches in the organization, I still had a relationship with you.
Exactly.
And so when I talk to people, I actually will tell them, I say, well, Fritz Pollard knows me professionally better than anyone else. You have literally been there almost from, I hired my first coach February 99. You were one of my coaches, I believe, right in the 2000 range, 2001. So you've been there really from the beginning. So it is amazing to have that level of insight. And I know that when I talk to you, you've got that historical reference of challenges I faced, overcome, challenges where I fell down, and overall dreams and goals. So I talked to you about how you gave yourself a gift. Your old self gave your future self a gift of getting up and doing the steps, right? This was a gift I gave myself. I have had at least one coach, if not two, a couple of times three, when I add in my financial wealth building coaches since February 99. And
well, and when you see the value of coaching, it's truly been life-changing, whatever arena of your life you've hired a coach in, you get addicted to it. You
yes.
know that there's always an opportunity for a coach to create a better outcome and impact on you. I think of partnership, I think of guide and a coach, and yet you just had me consider it in a different way, and that's the level of trust that's created in a very short and quick period of time. I tell the coaches that I'm working with all the time, you'd be shocked at how quickly a good coach can build rapport and have a client instantaneously sharing some of the most personal things in their life, because the partnership and the guide modalities are there. I mean, it's like someone goes, man, this is like a doctor that, might be doing intense surgery on me. I want to give them all the information I can, even more so than some of their close friends. And I think that's what coaches must honor, that someone is willing to share their deepest, darkest secrets so that they can grow from it. And coaches get the privilege of being in that partnership. It's humbling at some level.
It is humbling. And we know that everything that we're doing, it's not just helping people achieve their customized goals at work. We know without saying, they might not know it yet, that it's also going to ripple out, and it's going to impact their families and relationships and even their own relationship with themselves. So it's compelling. I think it's one of the reasons why you and I are drawn to the coaching realm, even though we've both been in real estate and real estate sales as well, through the decades, because there's that satisfaction of having such an impact on so many. Is really remarkable. But jumping back, I have one last question I want to ask you, and that is, and this is tough, and I didn't tell you the question beforehand, so get ready. Anyone who's listening in any industry, what do you think is one of the first dominoes that they should consider that may have a bigger impact than they would expect?
Okay, so thanks for the curveball there, and it's super important. And the reason I'm going to say this is I already know what it is, and we can discuss why it is. I believe personally that health and fitness, and you could probably throw nutrition in there, although thankfully my wife handles all the nutritional focuses in my life. But when you're not feeling good, when you're not energetic, when you're not vigorous, I don't care what you're doing, it's not going to end well.
Yes.
It's certainly going to be short of what you would expect. And again, the ritual getting up 3 in the morning, I'm running around the park. It's dark, and I witnessed some weird things that go on in my local park at 3 in the morning. I mean, that was interesting in and of itself. But I had to let that ritual stay with me for the work that we do. We've got to show up. We've got to be on our A game.
Right.
Our first call at 7:30 and our last call at 4 o'clock has to be the same.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So you need that energy well.
You got to be able to dig deep. So
Yeah.
I think that first domino feeds everything else. And again, we only get one body. So if you screw this one up, I don't know what else you're going to do.
Right.
And sometimes you don't get do-overs, that you've abused it to a certain level that you can't recover. And in some ways you can, but I would say just a very simple exercise plan, workout plan, and I believe in habit stacking. So
Yes.
for me, if I can check a couple of boxes, so now my elliptical is also listening to a good book. I've got a goal to read 24 books every year. I get the Audible subscription thing, but my workout probably knocks out, quite frankly, at least half of those books because I'm already there and I'm just staring out, at the driving range at the golf course. And, sometimes that's exciting, sometimes it's not, but I've got that book just pumping into my head. So check the exercise box, check the reading box. So habit stacking has been a good deal. Now, some days I just am not feeling up to the exercise, so I walk the course.
That's
the book is still going. I need variety. So one of the things I've been attempting to do is sprinkle variety around my workout stuff so I don't use boredom as the reason to bail.
That's fantastic.
So I think it's health and fitness. When you're feeling good, your relationships are better, your business is better, your attitude is better, your people skills are better, your energy is better, and you just win more often. And when you
Agreed.
don't win, you recover quicker. You and I get punched in the gut multiple times in a week. I just rebound better.
Absolutely.
So that's my one age. Domino.
I'll show my age. I have a few friends that used to call me the Weeble because Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down and bounce back up.
And we call them friends?
We just lost all the millennials and Gen Z.
Yeah.
YouTube it. Yeah. They're pretty cute. I'm going to offer an alternative first domino that I think anyone could reflect on. And I'm thinking this might be a great idea for people that are already mastering or working towards mastery on what you shared. So if you're sitting there and you're fully jacked and you've got your nutrition and all of that in alignment, another idea for you. And I'm going to go with first thoughts you have every day. Training yourself to literally wake up and affirmations play in your mind. I will share with all of you, all my coaching clients know it. When my eyes open, I literally think, another day above ground, let's go get it. And I hop right out of bed. And so that is a domino where no snooze. Any of you, if you got your snooze enabled on whatever you're using as alarm, disable it. And you train yourself to wake up with at least, that's my power statement. That is every day. And then I also have a routine where I do affirmations out loud in the mirror right after brushing my teeth, habit stack. Yep. I wouldn't leave the house without brushing my teeth.
Yep.
Stack in my affirmations, say them out loud in the mirror right when I'm done. A 10-second visualization. That's the high D coming through. My visualization cannot be longer than about 15 seconds. And it is remarkable what those two things have created for me, my clients. There is a joke though. One of my sisters says, because I wake up in a good mood every day, right? So it's annoying to people who don't do that. And one of my sisters likes to say, I think that's why you're single. She's like, you are so annoying when you first wake up and you're like,
friends.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man.
And of course I say that tongue in cheek, and she did as well. So I like that. I think these are two that regardless of what your industry is, where your focus is, where you want to see some change in your life. If you're feeling overwhelmed by choice, then I would really factor in either a workout or a mindset workout, right?
Exactly.
And make that, notice we both talked about right when you wake up. Consider that. I know, Fritz, you and I could probably talk about Domino Effect forever. I want to ask you one other quick thing.
Yeah.
So a couple little tidbits from your past. You are one of the smaller percentage of real estate agents, realtors, leadership in real estate coaches that actually got a degree in real estate. I believe it was Cal State Long Beach.
Well, yeah. In fact, it was under the finance department, and you could get a degree in either real estate or investment. And my dad, I've told this story many times. He was a corporate America castoff, so he had given everything he had, 30-year career,
Right.
and then one day they said, "Thank you very much. Here's your golden handshake, and you don't need to come in tomorrow." And man,
sayonara, sweetheart. Yeah.
hit me hard. I remember I was at Cal State Long Beach at the time. How could they? And I'll never forget, he was going to get the gold watch. And so my mom had shown me the different watches, and he was going to get ones with hands. And I go, "No, get the digital one. Digital's like the cool thing." The tech guy that now isn't really a tech guy. I mean, I was very involved and very impacted by how he was treated by corporate America. And I said, never will be me.
Right.
So that was the defining why in the road. What was I going to be, a corporate guy? Nope. I didn't like the way he got treated. I wanted to be in control of my destiny. And real estate gave that entrepreneurial aspect to it. And I've never looked back. But that was the defining scenario that was unfolding that drove me down the path I took.
Well, I think that's really fascinating. I was one of the people in real estate where I used to play realtor. So I remember when I was at 8, 9, 10, I liked to play that I was a real estate agent and annoyed my big Irish Catholic family to the point where no one wanted to play it with me anymore. But I did not have a degree in it. So that's fascinating. One other quick note, any Gen Z that's out there, you started your real estate career when you were 23. Yeah. Amazing. So if anyone that is hearing this and you're younger, go for it. You're now looking at nearly 40 years and you have built this life by design and are currently director of coaches at the Coaching Nexus. And I believe that, like we were talking about, how incredible is it to have a nearly 40-year career and you're so invigorated by what you're doing, learning, meeting, connecting, that you want to wake up and have a crazy morning schedule where, frankly, you could TikTok it and be a early morning influencer. I think that's great that you still have the passion, the energy, and you've reinvigorated to this extent to be the director of coaches for Coaching Nexus.
Yeah. Well, it's a big job. And obviously I don't underestimate the impact that coaches have to be at a director's level. And let's not get too lost in a label. I'm just finding amazing people like you, bringing them together. And you've even seen some of these small groups that we pull together. We've got an AI mastermind. We meet once a week. We're exchanging ideas like, how do we improve our industry? What's coaching going to look like tomorrow, a year from now, 5 years from now? Let's build it today. And what I'm finding is just the dialogue around that is inviting amazing human beings. We hired a coach yesterday. This guy is brilliant in his field. I've got another one that's going to jump on our call on Monday to kind of check us out, which I'm fully prepared to do. Like, come in and watch us work. We're having a great time over here. So it is humbling in the opportunity that is before me. And yet at the end of the day, I get to hang out with great people like you. And what could be bad about that? I mean, there's just nothing that could be bad about that.
I think one of the things that's been exciting for me, and just so anyone who's interested might know, the Coaching Nexus, we are not just in real estate. So, of course, we're rooted in real estate, and that's where you and I have our key centers of influence. But we have other coaches that are coaching leaders in other industries. And when I think about the leadership deficit, I'll call it, that our country is facing, that really gets me so excited as well. And there are aspects of coaching that we have. So we're expanding and growing, which is awesome. But it's not necessarily why we came together today. Yeah. I do just want to quickly point out and thank you for being a guest today, and point out that you are in beautiful, sunny Southern California. I am. I believe, if I'm correct, that you are still an active agent and member of Keller Williams Coastal is that Long Beach?
Yeah, Long Beach.
Yeah,
There's a
Long
few
Beach.
few
Yeah.
offices in Long Beach, and not overly active per se from the
Well,
standpoint of
but you're
selling,
there. Yeah.
but I'm in their offices. And by the way, this is the office that during COVID I was coming to every day. I'd walk in this office, and then the lights that you can see through those blinds would shut off because I
Right. Right.
was the only one here. I'd walk out and the lights would all come back on. But yeah, Minnie is our OP. He's amazing. Hallie Hardy is our TL. By the way, you want to talk about leadership? Watching a market center migrate through remote
Yes.
learning, remote
Yes.
working is a challenge. We've got Dougie, who's our agent concierge. He's amazing. James, our MCA, our Dofi Summer. I mean, it's really cool in a business setting with the coaching Nexus to work around exciting people like yourself and people changing lives, and then to come and watch the real estate side being run at a very high level. It's an
Nice.
amazing life I get to lead, and I'm humbled by it every day.
I would love at some point to come out and maybe teach a class at KW Coastal. I believe I did that years ago in the early days when I was a team leader down in Orange County. I think I recall coming up there and doing a class. So I'd love to do that in the future. This has been a phenomenal conversation for me. Domino Effect is one that I reflect on. I do factor it in when I'm doing my business planning. If I ever feel that my business is slightly off, I will do a mini full court press, like mini business plan. And I still reflect and I think, what are the dominoes? And I actually visualize it. Is it one domino that is going to branch out? Do I want two dominoes that will converge and then make a more beautiful design? But I do actually use it and think about it. It sounds like you do as well.
Absolutely.
I've really enjoyed talking about it, and I know you and I well enough. We could talk about this for 8 hours. So we're going to wrap up.
Yep.
Again, this has been Fritz Pollard, an amazing, influential coach, over 80,000 hours of coaching, very firmly rooted in the industry. And reach out if you have any questions or want to get to know Fritz better. This has been great. Have a great day.
Thank you, Bridget.